going to be making some friendship bracelets. We have 3 different bracelets that we are going to make today. And if you did not stop by the library, we have plenty of extra supplies. So you can pick up some sets of supplies to make your own friendship bracelets. We have plenty of materials at the library, so you can come in and get more supplies if you'd like. The first bracelet that we are going to make is called it's just a braided bracelet. So it's actually kind of hard to see those colors, but it's a simple braid. Now, in your baggie that had the supplies from the library, there were 3 different sets of this friendship bracelet thread here. And you'll want to do, for the braided one, you'll want to pick the shortest one. There's one that's short and then 2 that are longer. The braid doesn't use as much of the thread as the others. So that one, we're going to use the shortest one for the braid. It's easiest to work at a table, and you probably want to tape it down. So I have some tape here, and I'm going to tape it down so that when I pull on it, it's not going, it's anchored down at this end. So for the braid, the first step is to separate them into the different colors. So there should be 2 strands of each color. For the one that I'm working on, I have green, red, and orange. So I'm just going to separate them into, so I have 2 strands of green, 2 strands of red, and 2 strands of orange here. Okay, and I'll wait a second till everybody gets caught up a little bit here. Because there's a couple things that I did there. I taped it down to my work surface, and then I separated it out into 3 different colors. Okay. Now, for the braid, this one is pretty simple. All you do is you take from one side and move it to the middle. Then you take from the other side and you move it to the middle. And you just do that over and over again until you're all the way down. So take from the left side to the middle, then from the right side and put it to the middle. Every so often you can kind of pull it up so that it tightens up to the top. You don't want to pull too hard because you don't want it to be too tight. Otherwise it won't look as good. You can also hold it in your hand like this if you find that easier. However is easy for you is the way to do it. So whether you have it laid out on your table and you're just going back and forth with the thread like this, left, right, left, and then tighten it up to the top, or whether you hold it with your hands like this and braid down that way. But either way, you're just taking from the right to the left to the middle, then the right to the middle, from the left to the middle, then the right to the middle. Okay. I'm going to check my chat here to see if there are any questions. And we'll make sure that everyone is Okay, it looks like there are no questions in chat. So we'll work on this one for a little bit, and then I'll show you how to end it off, to finish it off once you get down to the bottom. So just keep braiding until you get down to the bottom of your thread. Okay. Once you've gotten down to the very bottom, and I've left a little bit of extra hanging loose. It's always a good idea to have a little bit extra at the end. And what we're going to do here is we are going to make what is called an overhand knot to finish off our braid. Okay, so what we do is we take the end and we wrap it around our fingers. And we put the end through the loop that we just made so that it looks like that. Okay, and then you pull it tight so that the knot is right at the end of your braid, like that. Okay, let me show you again how to do that knot, because it's something that's kind of tricky to do. Okay, so you put the thread around your fingers like that, so that you have an X across your fingers. Okay. Then put the end through the loop that you just made so that you have what looks like a pretzel right there. And then you pull it tight so that you have a knot. Okay, and we'll practice that again because we'll do that on the other bracelets to finish them off. Okay, so if you didn't get it the first time, we can practice it again, and practice makes perfect. A lot of these bracelets are kind of hard to do the first time, so don't worry if yours doesn't look quite like the example. It takes practice to get the tension right, and all you can do is just try your best. And if you need more materials, you can come to the library and get some more, and you can practice again. So this is the braid. In order to put it around your wrist, it's kind of hard to do by yourself, so you might need some help for it. But you put the loop over your wrist, and then the end with the knot, you put that through the loop. You can tighten it to however tight you want it, and then you can do your same overhand knot on this end to tighten it that way. And then you have your first bracelet. One down. Let me see. Ooh! Nice. Very good. Excellent. Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you say that again?
I haven't finished yet, but I'm almost.
That's okay. That's okay. if you'd like, you can finish that one up while we move on. Or if you want, you can set it aside and move on to the next one with us. But we'll give you a couple more minutes right now to see if you can get some more done. Okay, we don't want to move on too quick. So we'll give you a couple more minutes to see if we can finish up, and I will start showing you the example for the next one.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Okay. Our next bracelet actually looks kind of similar to the braid, but it's called the fishtail. I don't know if you can see it very well. So, I like the way the fishtail looks. I think it's a really pretty bracelet. And this one, we're going to use one of our longer sets of thread here. But it may be too long for your wrist. So you can stop with this one whenever you get to your wrist length. You don't have to keep going just because you have extra thread down at the bottom. Okay. So just like the last one, we're going to start. Are you ready to move on, Lori, or do you need to wait a couple more minutes?
I'm done with it.
You're done? Oh, good. How did it turn out? Good.
I just need to loop it around my hand.
Very good. Well, and that is kind of tricky to do on your own. So, you may have to get some help to do that because tying it one-handed is kind of tricky. Okay, so we're going to anchor down our next piece here. Actually, I like these colors. I have a light pink, a light purple, and a light green, but it's a little bit hard to see them on this surface. So I'm going to use one of my darker ones here so that you can see it a little better. Okay. So we're going to lay it out and anchor it down with our tape. Okay. Now, this one is a little bit different from the braid. Instead of separating the colors together, we're going to put one strand of each color on each side. So I'm working with a purple, a dark blue, and a light blue. So I'm going to start with the purple and put one to this side and one to this side. Then I'm going to take the dark blue and put one to this side and one to this side. And then we're going to finish by putting the light blue one to either side. Okay. Now, one thing that's kind of fun about this is that you can do it with as many or as few strands as you'd like. You can do it with 4 different colors, with 5 different colors. It's really up to you. I did 3 strands because it's easier to work with a smaller number when you're first getting started. Now, for the fishtail, it's similar to the braid, but it's just a little bit different. So we're going to take the one to the farthest left and put it over to the bottom of the right-hand side. Okay? And then we're going to take the one to the farthest right and put it to the bottom of the left-hand side. And so it's pretty similar to the braid. You're just moving things to the center, and you're alternating from the left side and the right side. So we go left to the middle, right to the middle, and then pull it tight. When you pull it, you don't want to pull too hard because you don't want it to get too tight up there. Okay, so now we're doing the third color here, and you're just moving it to the other side. So take it from the farthest left and move it to the bottom of the right-hand side. Then you take the one from the farthest right and put it at the bottom of the left-hand side, and then pull tight. Again, it might be easier for you to hold it in your hands to do it, or it might be easier to leave it out on the table. I tend to like to hold it in my hands like this because I can keep the tension nice and tight there, and then I don't have to pull up so much at the end. But when you're first starting out, it might be easier to leave it spread out on the table. It's up to you. So, and this one takes a little while to do, so we're gonna take our time. And just alternate sides going into the middle. Alternate sides going into the middle. And pull. Okay. While we're working on this one, I'm going to check the chat to see if we're still doing good. Okay. Boop. Boop. Pull. Oops. Okay. Okay, and the end result of this one is a really pretty looking fishtail. Oh, it's kind of dark to see, but you can see how it turns out just like that. Okay, this one takes a little longer to do, so you might not be finished with it right now. I know I'm not. I only got about halfway down. So, and then I stopped, but I think I am going to move on and then, and show you guys the third one. And then if you want to finish this one up later, you can finish it up later. Okay. So the third bracelet that we are going to learn how to do today is this one. It's the spiral. This one has a very different look than the other ones. And it's the first one where we're going to use a knotting instead of just a braid that we're doing. So I'm going to get out my third set of thread from the supplies and anchor it down. Okay. Now, this one uses one thread at a time, and you're going to do a whole bunch of knots with the one thread, and then you're going to switch to a different color. You can do as many or as few knots with each thread as you want. So, but I tend to think it works better if you do a little bit of a chunk with one and then switch from color to color. When I do it, I do about 15 knots with one before moving on to the next color. And I alternate color in the same order. So I go yellow, brown, green, yellow, brown, green, but you can do whatever you want. It's totally up to you in terms of which color you choose next. So I'm going to show you the basic knot that we're going to use for this bracelet. And it's a pretty simple knot to do. And I like to call it the 4 knot. So you're going to take the thread that you're going to start with, and we're going to put it across the rest of your strands so that it looks like you have a 4 here. Okay. Let me see. Sorry, Julia, let's see. Okay. So you have a 4, and then you take this end of the 4 and you put it under the strand and over that end. And then you just pull it up to the top. Okay, so I'm going to show you that again. Make your 4 and then take this end under, so loop it around the rest of the strands, pull tight, and then pull all the way up to the top. Okay, it will make the spiral automatically, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to do my 4 again and make another knot. Pull tight and then pull up to the tippy top. Make my 4. Put the strand under, pull up to the tippy top. Okay, is there anyone who's confused about how to make this 4 knot? Okay, so you make your 4, go under that, pull it up tight, and pull it up to the tippy top. 4, this end under, pull it up like that. I'm trying to move my hands a little bit so you can see it better. So 4, take this end, put it under like that, pull up, and then up to the tippy top. Oops, my tape is not holding up here, so I need to try to retape this. This one does pull a little bit harder at the tape up at the top, just because you're pulling the knot up to the top. Okay. I'm going to do some more with the blue. You can do as many knots as you want with it. I think I need some more tape up here. Pulling on it. Okay. Now, after you get a certain point, you might decide to switch colors. So I'm going to switch over to green. And then you just do the same thing, but with a different strand. So put the first strand that you were working with, it'll be a lot shorter than the others because you've been using it to make all those knots. But just put it with the other ones, and then you can start knotting with a new color. So I'm going to start knotting with this green. So I'm going to make my 4 like I have been, and I'm going to do the same knot that I have been making. So this second step kind of looks like that, where you have like that, and it pulls it up. And then you just keep making knots with your new color. This one's another one. It takes a while to do, just because with each knot, it just adds a very little bit to the length. So I got to about here with my green. So I'm going to switch to a new color. And with that, I just add the green strand I was working with to the main pile. And then I haven't used white yet, so I'm going to grab a strand of the white. And then I'm just going to do what I have been doing. I'm going to make my 4 and start making knots with the white. And when I pull the knot tight, I'm pulling it up to the very tippy top so that it meets up, it joins up with the knot right above it, so that it looks like a single color all the way for a certain number of knots here. So you can see on this example one, how close those knots are together. And the knots are what makes the spiral down the edge. Okay. So I'm going to keep doing the white for a while. Okay, and then I think that's good for the number of stitches for that one for me. So I'm going to switch to another one. I can do the same order that I did the first time. So I can go blue, green, white, or I can choose something different. But I am going to choose one of the longer strands, not one of the shorter strands. So I'm going to choose green. But I'm going to choose one of the longer greens because there's the shorter green that I was already working with. Oops, there it is. I'm going to choose the longer one. And I'm going to do the same type of knot that I have been doing. And pull it up to the tippy top to join it up with the white section. And keep on knotting. Now you can make your sections about evenly spaced. You can do one for longer. It's totally up to you. I like to try and keep them evenly spaced, but that's just my own personal preference. Okay, I think I'm going to switch back over to white. Again, I'm going to choose the longer of the two whites that I haven't used before. And I'm going to keep on knotting. Now, this one will take a while to get down to the end. So I think we're going to stop there now that you guys have hopefully gotten the hang of that type of knotting. Now, if you're really ambitious, you can do the same type of knotting to make this type of a bracelet. But that is a lot trickier. And we don't have any more sets of thread from the library. So if you'd like, you can always feel free to come back up to the library and get more sets of them, or more sets of threads. We've got plenty in all sorts of different colors. And so you can come to the library to get more sets of threads so you can practice making these same ones. I think that's about it. Does everybody remember our knot for finishing off the bracelet? So once you get down to the very end, this isn't the end, but this is when you get down to the end of the bracelet. Remember our overhand knot. We're going to make an X over our fingers like that. Put the end through the loop that we just made so it looks like we have a pretzel. And then pull the knot tight so it's at the end of our pattern. Okay, and then you will end up with a number of different bracelets that you have made all on your own. So today we learned, oops, I'm not, we learned how to make, oops, the braid, the spiral, and the fishtail. And if you need to see the video again, we will be posting the video to our website. And then you can see this video again on how to make all three of these different kinds. Any other questions before we finish up for today? Anything you're still a little confused about or need me to show you again?
I still don't know how to do like tying the knot thing to end the bracelet.
To finish it off at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can show you one more time. Okay. So if this is the end of your bracelet, okay, take your two fingers and put the end of it over your fingers like that and make it so that you have an X over your fingers. Okay, so you take the end and put it over so you have an X. Then you pull your fingers out of that loop that you just made so that you have a circle with an X above the circle like that. Okay. Then you take the end and you put it into the middle of that hole, that loop. And you take this end and pull it up. And when you get there, it looks like you have a pretzel. Okay. Here, I'll move it down a little bit because so you have your pretzel. And then you pull it tight so that you have your overhand knot. I'm going to try it with this one so you can, there's a little bit more extra here so you can see it better. I'm also going to try and get a little closer so you can see it better. So I'm going to take the end, wrap it over so I have an X, pull my fingers out so that I have a hole here, put the end through that hole, through that loop, so that I have a pretzel here. And then pull tight until you get a knot. Does that help, Lori? Yeah? Okay. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to see one more time before we finish up? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today. And I hope you had fun making these bracelets. And I hope you get even better than today with practice.